again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Browns Latest. I'm Dave Grendzynski, and this is where you can swing on in and get caught up on some of the latest news involving the Cleveland Browns, and then you can also get a take or two or three or four or more along the way. Thank you to everybody who likes the episodes, who have subscribed to the channel, and who get those comments in the viewer comment section. And hey, if you see a comment that you like in the viewer comment section, please, by all means, like those as well. On today's show, found a little schedule concern, but courtesy of CBS, they found one good thing and one bad thing about the Browns schedule, and I completely agree with what they're saying. Juan Thornhill fires off a parting shot at the Browns, but I'm going to tell you why they should have never signed him in the first place. Also, the Bengals, home opener's over 3 months away. Bengals already talking trash. And in the viewer comment section, one viewer has a wild scenario for Cleveland that involves Shedeur Sanders and his old Colorado teammate, Travis Hunter. But first things first, let's get to that schedule. So, what's good and what's bad about the schedule? CBS Sports came up with this, so I can't take credit for it. But when I read it, I'm like, they are absolutely right. One good thing, and here, let's get the schedule up so we can take a look at it. One good thing is, starting in Week 8, the Browns will have a 4-game stretch where they play 3 games against teams with a new head coach: the Patriots, Jets, and Raiders. Now, caveat to that, the Patriots have our old guy, Mike Vrabel, over there, who, there may or may have not been a few days or months where I lobbied for us to get Mike Vrabel in there as our head coach, but he's with the Patriots now, and so I think he's going to know us pretty well inside and out, and so you have that 3-game stretch, and then there's some other teams in there where, the Browns could potentially win all 4 of those games. If they're going to land a wild card spot, they're going to need to win those games. So, the bad news now. The bad news is on the front end of the schedule. When you look at the front end of the schedule, they've got that stretch of 4 games where they're playing the Ravens, the Packers, the Lions, and Minnesota. Now, I say Minnesota is a problem, and here's why. It's because it's in England. And Minnesota, remember, they're playing their Week 4 game in Ireland. So they are going to be over there for 2 weeks. And when they get to us, they will be totally acclimated to the time change and everything else that's going on. Whereas we have a week to deal with it. And so, it's a 6-hour difference. It's going to be. I've been to Germany. I've been to Italy. I've been to France. I've been to Europe several times, and it's a thing, folks. That time change, and so the Jaguars seem to have figured it out. They do a pretty good job of every time they go over there, they seem to win. But that is where I see the problem. So we could end up starting the season 1-4. I think we're beating Cincinnati in the home opener, or potentially 0-5, and we could be digging ourselves out of a hole if things don't go right for us early on that schedule. So, there is some good, there is some bad. As I said, I mentioned it yesterday. It's like, when you look at it, it's like, man, you see some things and it's like, boy, that's not so bad. And then you look at other things and you're like, ugh, I don't know. But anyway, I completely agree with what CBS Sports had to say. Now, I don't agree with this. Juan Thornhill, with his parting shot at the Browns. Now, you remember we released him at the end of last season. And what we did was we went out and signed DeMonte KZ. Pittsburgh decided they didn't want him anymore. So here's what happened. We signed KZ. The Steelers signed Thornhill. We essentially trade safeties. But Thornhill just couldn't let things die. Just couldn't leave anything alone. Because once we signed KZ, this is what he posts. He says, "Can't wait. This blank is personal." And so, I get it. Maybe he's mad. I don't know. But here's the thing. When Thornhill was with us, he was hurt all the time. He played in 11 of a possible 17 games in over 2 seasons. But that's not the reason I think they should have never signed him in the first place. I am a firm believer, and I have said this for years. You never, ever sign a guy who just won a Super Bowl. They are done, folks. Once they get that, here are two things to NFL guys. Oh, they want that second contract, right? They want to get that bag, get off that rookie contract and get that bag, and then get the Super Bowl ring. You get a guy that has both of those. I would, my personal opinion, I steer away from them because they've got what else is there for them to accomplish in the league other than making more money. And so this goes all the way back to when, I don't know if you remember when the Browns signed Paul Kruger after Baltimore won the Super Bowl. We gave him all that money and he basically came here and did nothing. I mean, just it happens every time, and that's the way I feel. And I wish, when as soon as they signed Thornhill, I thought, oh boy. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. And look how it ends. It ends badly. So anyway, Thornhill talking trash. Now, somebody else who's talking trash, the Bengals. I mean, come on, man. We're over 3 months away from the home opener, and they're already. So here, let's just get to it. So they put out their, they announced their season schedule or whatever, and there's this clip in there of three Bengals defenders. We'll just leave it at that. They're in this video, and they're looking at the schedule, and they say that Browns game, they pick up the schedule and they look at it. The Browns are on, first on the list. That Browns game's about to go crazy, one of them said. Another one says, we don't even know who they are going to basically start a quarterback, is what he's saying. We don't know who they're going to start a quarterback. And then the third guy says, doesn't matter, I'm sacking him. Man, he goes, they're out there collecting quarterbacks like they Pokemon. Oh, I get the Pokemon thing because I used to, my kids and I, we would, the boys were into it. And so we would go around looking for Pokemon. I get it. I get all that. But I digress. First of all, here's the deal, folks. If you don't live in Ohio, if you don't live in Cleveland, you don't live in Cincinnati, listen, I love going down to Cincinnati. We go a lot. When my dad was with us, we'd go down and watch back then the Indians, now the Guardians. Actually, my brother's going this weekend, driving down to Cincinnati, watch the Guardians play in Cincinnati. We go down there, hang out. We love the city, love it. But here's the thing, folks. When it comes to the sports teams in Cleveland and Cincinnati might as well be in Siberia because, yes, we're both in Ohio, but we feel no attachment to Cincinnati. And you remember Sam Weish and his whole "you don't live in Cleveland" nonsense back in the day? Like there is just this disdain, between the cities when it comes to the sports teams. People are great. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I know a lot of people who go to University of Cincinnati, all that. I'm not bagging on the city at all. Love it all that. It's just that fun, friendly rivalry between the two cities when it comes to the sports teams. Like I said, Cincinnati could be in Colorado or Oregon. See what I did there? As opposed to Ohio. And so here's the other thing I'll say about that home opener with the Bengals. If it were Watson quarterbacking, I'd be like, we don't have a shot. We're done. Like I would turn that win over to the Bengals already. But this year's different. Flacco will be there to start. Maybe Pickett. And then you got Shador and Dylan Gabriel, the apprentices waiting in the wing. And I think Flacco's experience and the change in offense, and, we always seem to have Cincinnati's number. I do think that we can beat them. And it starts, though, with the quarterback. If it was Watson, I'd say we're screwed. But with Watson out of the picture, I think we have a great chance to beat those Bengals on opening day. So quit talking trash, Cincinnati. All right, on to the viewer comments, which, of course, keep crushing it. And here's where I want to start, because we were just talking about him, Deshaun Watson. An educated black man says, Watson will never take another snap. We can only hope. But I'm pretty sure he's not. He's done. Haslam already said swing and a miss and all that. So, I continue. Well, actually, educated black man continues. Shador will be QB2 at the start of the season. Like the confidence. Pickett will be QB3, and Gabriel will be traded or cut. Gabriel was a 6th or 7th round pick. Sanders will be the starter if Flacco flames out. The owner wants Sanders to be the face of the Browns, and if Stefanski doesn't develop him, he will be fired. Yeah, well, there's a lot of reasons Stefanski will be fired if things don't start shaping up soon. But the whole Gabriel will be traded or cut thing, Browns took him in the 3rd round. It'll all depend on the play on the field. That's it. And so we'll see. But Browns didn't think they were going to get Shador. So that is the monkey in the wrench. If you ever saw Die Hard, that's the monkey in the wrench. Okay. Bingo charm. Good handle. I'm really not believing the narrative the media is spinning. The Browns media refuse to be winners. Loser mentality. No imagination or faith. It's so disheartening and disrespectful. You have all of us rooting for the underdog by doing it. I hope both rookies outwork the others, and take control of their futures, and we don't have to watch this crap. Look at your comments. The fans don't believe your viewpoints. Well, some fans, they don't believe my viewpoints. But here's the bottom line is, the media here, they are just fighting each other. It's crazy. Me, I'm on the fence. I want to see it all play out on the field. I am just so grateful that we have 4 commendable people in the quarterback room for the first time in a long time. Not to say like Jameis Winston and DTR and those guys weren't commendable. I think we know who I'm talking about. But here's the thing, like they are all just great people to start. And guess what? They are all competent quarterbacks. We haven't seen that out of our starter, and I think you know who I'm talking about, in a long time. So, by the way, did you see Deshaun? He's engaged and going to be married now. So he's got other things on his mind. So not the Brownies, which I don't know if he's had the Browns on his mind ever since he's gotten here. Anyway, Zachary Krovsky, 2276. If your name ends in ski, probably going to use you. What if Sanders ended up convincing Hunter to come to the Browns and team up with him in Cleveland? That would be wild and great for Cleveland and Sanders and Hunter. They would ball out, chemistry alone. You know what? 100% agree, Zachary. But here's the problem. Jacksonville is never, ever in a million years going to give up Travis Hunter. So not after they traded up the 2 to get him. Unfortunately, that's like a dream of yours, like my dream of the schedule the other day, playing it out and us going 14-3 or 17-0. Yeah, that's a dream. It's fine. But, boy, yeah. And the thing is, when you kick yourself, because if we had a crystal ball, we would have had them both already. And so, it is what it is. Rick Hunter, 1317, says, I highly doubted Shador and wanted to see what he would do against Division I talent. He exceeded my expectations. I can't count how many big throws he made during the most clutch moments. That's how I judge QBs. How do you perform when it matters most? His only issue is holding onto the ball, which is something that can easily be fixed. And I remember when we went over Shador a couple of weeks ago, and that's what I said. If you look at all of the negatives on Shador, football-wise, to me, every single one of them is coachable. And so that's why we have to be so excited about getting him where we got him. And so, Rick Hunter, you are absolutely right. At Grams, if Cleveland gets even 50% of the fan money boost from the prime effect, that's her, not me, of the Sanders name, which was proven at Jackson, JSU, and CU, that cheap rookie contract will be a bargain of the decade. Yeah, you're not wrong. Ticket sales, national TV exposure, merchandise sales, local hospitality, all of it. Shador's positive attitude, personal interactions will be an incubator for a younger fan base. The ROI may be mind-boggling. And Grams, 7914, you are 1,000,000% correct. So you just got to let it all play out. Just let it play out. And guess who's back? Vaughn Graham is back. Now, you remember yesterday he said that all my takes suck, but he did apologize. He said, all your takes suck. I'm sorry. But I got a follow-up from Vaughn. He says, I was talking about your take yesterday. My take on the schedule, my fake take on the schedule. LOL, not all of your takes. So, Vaughn Graham, apology accepted. And so, that's what this is supposed to be. I just want us all to have fun. It just is fun. It's fun to watch and fun to talk about. Okay? Man, so much to do, so little time, said Willy Wonka, and so do I. So, okay, that's going to do it for today's show. Thanks so much for stopping by. Hey, like I said, the fun never ends. We'll be back with more tomorrow. All right, go Browns. We'll see you next time.